It'd be just great if everything went the way we expect it to every time we go to the flying field. But there are times when things go wrong, and very often we're the reason they go wrong. This is the 5th flight on this P-47 from Top Flight, and as far as I know, nobody snuck into my house and done anything to this airplane, so that pretty much leaves me as the culprit here. We can't even blame the weather, because as you can see, it's about as perfect as it's going to get. The motor's running fine, radio's doing everything it's supposed to, there's no problems there, all the servos are fine, and it's still on the ground, so I haven't had a chance to mess it up yet either. Notice how the cameraman gets in nice and close so you can see this real good. And the tail's up and the wheel's off. And there goes one of the retracts. I missed one set screw, and this is what happened to the retract mount on that wing. I was actually pretty surprised at how little damage there is in this plane. The way the retract pulled out of the wing here left me with some good pieces that fit in very well, so it's not going to be hard to epoxy these back in place. Just to be sure, I'm going to use the Model Matrix epoxy from Epo Grip. This epoxy is super tough on its own, but they've also milled fiberglass into it, and that makes it a bunch stronger. And even though I'm never going to forget that one set screw again, I still want these retracts to stay where I put them. This is an electric Robart retract, and the only damage to the retract itself is this one flange. The way that flange is bent up shows you how tough the mounting is that Top Flight designed for this plane. Apparently it takes a seasoned pro like me to mess this up this bad. This is the cover for the retract bay, and it's going to be just as easy to make a new one of these as try to save this one. Oddly enough, there wasn't any serious damage to the sheeting around the retract pocket. This really is all the damage I have to fix. I spent about half an hour cutting on these pieces to fit them back in. You just want to remove a little bit of the ends that we get them to fit in cleanly. Then I coated out all the contact surfaces with that Model Matrix epoxy, pushed them into place, and let it sit for overnight. I'm also going to sort of nail these things in place with this hardwood dowel. The mounting rails for the retract might be in slightly different positions, so I'm going to drill out the screw holes and plug them with that 1/8-inch hardwood dowel. It's just going to be easier to get the retract aligned properly if we make new holes for the screws. Now we just tap some pieces of dowels into all those holes and hit them with some thin CA. The retract pocket is reinforced by those heavy plywood ribs on either side. I'm going to drill through the mounting rails and then through that rib so we can stake these pieces in with the dowels. I was able to get 2 dowels in each of the mounting rails. The balsa sheeting next to the retract pocket snapped out very cleanly. All we have to do here is use some medium CA and we can nail this back down. I'll make sure this gets CA'd down real well, then later on we can sand it and cover it. The door on the retract that came out of the plane got busted up a little bit, and this is another great place for the Epo Grip epoxy with the glass milled into it. This area is covered by the wheel, so we're looking for strength, not pretty. Here I've reinstalled the retract and did it exactly as we did when we built the plane. That's why I filled the old screw holes up. It's just easier to align the retract up with the wheel pocket and screw it down. Next we need to make a new cover for the retract pocket. This is the cover from the other retract pocket, and if I turn it upside down, it fits in this pocket just perfectly, so I can use this as a pattern for making a new one. I just traced this out on a piece of 1/16-inch plywood, marked the holes for the screws, and we can just cut it out. This is thin plywood and you can cut it just about any way. But I had this 18-inch scroll saw in the cabinet, so I whipped that out to make sure that I'm using way more power than is necessary. I get email every now and then from people that can't get that clear plastic coating off the back of the monocoat. All you got to do is put a piece of masking tape on both sides and then pull the tape apart, and the back comes right off. You just have to make sure that the tape is stuck to both sides all the way to the corner. Then when you pull those pieces of masking tape apart, you're also pulling that protective covering from the back of the monocoat. I gave this cover a coat of balsa-rite, let that dry, and then I can just iron the covering on. This is the retract that didn't get torn out, and this is the one that did. A couple hours and a little bit of work later, and we're ready to put this thing back in the air. Okay, I might have to trim a little monocoat there in the ragged edges, but it'll fly the way it is. And if I remember to not forget that set screw, we won't have to be fixing this again.